In this video, we'll be taking a look at 5 college basketball games happening on November 26, 2025, and providing you with free team picks and total picks for each one of those games, so 10 picks in total. Welcome back to Cash Out Sports. Let's dive right into it. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and to click the bell icon to get notified as soon as these videos get released, so that you have more time to plan out your bets as we provide these videos on a daily basis. I can guarantee that you'll have all the important information that you'll need on these 5 college basketball games after fully watching this video. One more thing before we start, if you would like to gain access to our best exclusive sports picks to take your journey to the next level, then check out our Patreon in the link down below where we offer our best single picks, parlay picks, and much more. Now let's get started. Vermont versus Princeton. We get an interesting mid-major pairing in the consolation bracket of the ESPN Events Invitational as Vermont faces Princeton. Both teams took a hit yesterday, with Vermont getting handled by Rhode Island and Princeton falling in a close game to Temple. The drive to leave this trip with something positive sits strong on both sides. It is unusual to watch a Vermont group led by John Becker give up 80 points like it did against Rhode Island. The defense that often looks firm and connected slipped, and Rhode Island shot close to 50% from the field. Princeton deals with a different set of challenges. The roster changed in a major way, with Xavier Lee now at Florida and Caden Pierce out for the season with an ankle injury. This puts the offense in the hands of junior guard Dylan Davis, who has been steady. Jackson Hickey shaped the real story in the loss to Temple. He scored a career-high 22 points and showed he can carry the offense when asked. Princeton found rhythm on offense even without its former standouts. The Tigers scored 75 points on a strong Temple defense and kept their usual backdoor movement alive. Vermont had a hard time finding steady scoring outside TJ Long and Shamir Bogues. That limited punch can cause problems if the defense is not sharp. Princeton's cuts, spacing, and Hickey's strong form create steady chances on a neutral floor, where Vermont's defensive edge looked off for a day. As our first pick for this matchup, the Princeton Tigers to cover the spread is our full game side pick. A meeting between Vermont and Princeton often turns into a slow contest with tight possessions and a modest score. Yesterday did not match that pattern. Vermont gave up 80 points, and Princeton allowed 79. Playing on a back-to-back can lead to tired legs, soft closeouts, and slower help rotations, which can raise scoring. Princeton moves a bit faster this season with Dylan Davis pushing the ball. Yesterday's 75-point showing supports that shift. Vermont needs to see shots fall after a cold outing, and a Princeton defense that yielded close to 80 points gives Vermont room to work inside. The matchup does not need to turn into a shootout for scoring to rise above what the pace history suggests. The number on this game likely reflects the old view of these programs and not the defensive results from Tuesday. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Kansas versus Tennessee. Tennessee plays with sharp unity. Their win against a rugged Houston group showed how well they handle pressure in a physical setting. The new faces on the roster have settled in fast. Jacoby Gillespie, who arrived from Maryland, guides the offense with poise and looks as if he has been in this system for years. Nate Ament, the freshman with the 5-star billing, backed up the hype when he put up 20 points on Rutgers and kept his edge against Houston. His confidence helps Tennessee stay steady when possessions slow down. Kansas enters this meeting in an unusual position. Flory Badunga has delivered in the paint with steady scoring and strong rebounding. Trey White has become a trusted wing scorer who keeps the offense moving. The missing piece is their standout freshman, Darren Peterson. Without him, the attack loses its highest ceiling. Kansas managed to push past Notre Dame and Syracuse, yet this test is different. Tennessee brings length at the rim with Felix Okpara, which can reduce Badunga's impact. Their perimeter defenders crowd ball handlers and force tough shots, and that creates pressure for a Kansas backcourt that lacks its main creator. The roster that enters this matchup has health, rhythm, and a stronger record on defense. As our first pick for this matchup, the Tennessee Volunteers to cover the spread is our full game side pick. Both coaches build defensive toughness. The style of play cuts off easy scoring chances and rewards patience. Kansas has tightened its approach in Las Vegas. They held Syracuse to 60 and Notre Dame to 61, and they leaned on slow possessions with strong rebounding since they play without Peterson. Badunga helps them control misses near the basket, and that reduces transition chances for opponents. Tennessee can score in stretches, as seen in their 85-point game against Rutgers, yet this test features an opponent that guards the paint with discipline. When both teams play their third game in 3 days, legs get heavy and jumpers lose lift. This setting favors half-court sets where each action requires care. A matchup shaped by physical play and short possessions increases the value of defensive stops and limits scoring runs. As our second pick for this matchup, under the projected total is our full game total pick. Wichita State versus St. Mary's. We are headed to the Imperial Arena in the Bahamas for a Battle for Atlantis opener that places two programs on very different paths. St. Mary's arrives with a spotless record of 6-0 and plays with a sharp rhythm that stands out this season. The group shows a level of offensive punch that goes beyond what its coach usually fields. Mikey Lewis, now in his second year, leads the charge and scores close to 20 points each night. His work with Paulius Morauskas, a strong Lithuanian forward, forms a steady inside and outside blend that creates hard matchups. Wichita State, sitting at 4-1-0, continues its rebuild under Paul Mills. The roster features many fresh pieces, including transfer guard Kenyon Giles. The Shockers fight on the boards, yet their perimeter coverage has not seen a backcourt as polished or structured as this St. Mary's unit. The Gales run their sets with tight timing, and that steady rhythm often puts them ahead of opponents that still sort through rotations in a neutral setting where control often decides the flow of play. This creates a setting where extended possessions, spaced actions, and consistent guard execution shape the tempo in a way that favors the more organized roster. As our first pick for this matchup, the St. Mary's Gales to cover the spread is our full game side pick. This total number mirrors the old view of St. Mary's as a slow group rather than the output this roster shows now. The Gales have cleared the over in 4 of their past 5 games because they score with steady efficiency rather than stall the pace. Both teams put a strong scorer on the floor, with Lewis for St. Mary's and Giles for Wichita State, and each can create quick scoring bursts from deep. Wichita State gives up a high field goal rate, and St. Mary's sits in the top tier of offensive efficiency. Games in the Bahamas often pick up once shooters adjust to the sightlines, and this setting tends to favor clean looks and smooth scoring runs. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. St. John's versus Auburn. If you checked the scoreboard yesterday, you saw two programs moving in opposite directions. One group just rang up 96 points on Baylor and looked sharp from tip to horn. The other walked off the floor after Michigan beat them by 30. Oddsmakers opened with the Red Storm as the favorite, and the setup for this matchup gives them a clear edge on recent form. Rick Pitino rebuilt his lineup again, and the overhaul took hold fast. Losing Kadari Richmond and R.J. Lewis to the pros sounded like a setback, but Bryce Hopkins has stepped into the lead role with force. After recovering from his knee injury, he showed his old rhythm and scored 26 on Baylor with steady control. Ozzie Sellers, a transfer from Stanford, fit into the system right away. He went 5 of 6 from deep last game and stretched the defense with simple, clean spacing. His shooting keeps the floor wide for cutters and ball screens. Auburn is searching for structure on both ends after Johnny Broome left. Without a steady presence in the paint, their defense looked out of sync against Michigan and gave up 102 points. That gap inside created breakdowns at every level. Bruce Pearl turned to transfers like Keyshawn Hall and Kevin Overton to steady the rotation, but the group has not formed tight coverage or strong help. St. John's plays fast, shares the ball, and uses pressure to force errors. With Hopkins setting the tone and Sellers hitting from outside, their attack runs with balance and purpose. As our first pick for this matchup, St. John's to cover the spread is our full game side pick. This total hints at a game with heavy pace. St. John's pushes the ball, sets quick actions, and attacks early in the shot clock. They scored 82 on a strong Iowa State defense and then reached 96 on Baylor. Ian Jackson, a transfer from North Carolina, gives them another downhill option who thrives in transition. Zuby Ejiofor finishes plays near the rim and keeps possessions alive. Auburn has not defended well, but they still run hard. They scored 72 against Michigan in a blowout loss and opened the season with 84 on Oregon. Their system encourages pace and early offense. They press advantages when they find them and attack before the defense settles. St. John's uses pressure to speed teams up, and Auburn often leans into pace when they lack rim protection. Those conditions create a fast, open style with many possessions and few long half-court sets. Both teams are built to move, and neither side is likely to slow the action in Las Vegas. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. Gonzaga versus Michigan. We have a high-profile matchup at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, and both teams bring sharp identities that shape every possession. Gonzaga enters with an offense built on precision. They score close to 95 points per game, and they do it with a blend of interior power and clean perimeter spacing. Graham Ike sets the tone in the post. He uses his final year of eligibility to impose his size and footwork, and he forces constant adjustments. His presence opens space for Steele Venters, who returns from 2 long injury setbacks and now gives Gonzaga a steady shooter on the wing. With both players finally healthy at the same time, Gonzaga runs an attack that feels balanced, steady, and difficult to disrupt. Michigan approaches the floor with a different philosophy under Dusty May. The program has embraced his pace and space system. They push the ball at every chance, and they look for early shots within the first 10 seconds of the clock. They create downhill pressure, they fuel transition chances, and they keep defenses on their heels. Michigan stays unbeaten because they run hard, they stay long across the lineup, and they turn tempo into a weapon. The half court is where the contrast grows clearer. Michigan prefers a track-style rhythm, but Gonzaga handles both fast and slow possessions with comfort. Gonzaga uses tight spacing, clean reads, and detailed footwork to locate mismatches. Ike's interior play forces help rotations, and the perimeter group handles those rotations with discipline. Michigan relies on speed to overwhelm opponents, but Gonzaga's defense controls angles, limits easy drives, and challenges mid-range attempts. As the game reaches the final minutes, the strength of Gonzaga's structure in the half-court shapes the likely direction. As our first pick for this matchup, the Gonzaga Bulldogs to cover the spread is our full-game side pick. Both teams arrive averaging more than 90 points per game, and their styles point to a fast rhythm from the opening tip. Michigan's system values quick shots and constant movement. They rely on volume and pace rather than long possessions. They want to make opponents defend in space before a defense can settle. Gonzaga answers with one of the most efficient offenses in college basketball. They do not shy away from pace. They move the ball into scoring actions with speed, and they find strong looks even when the pace rises. A neutral Las Vegas setting often produces high-energy shooting, and Gonzaga's guards, helped by Venters, can find rhythm when Michigan looks for steals or jumps passing lanes. Both defenses face difficult interior assignments, and both attacks have the tools to reach deep into the 80s without strain. The tempo should stay high, the transition game should stay active, and scoring chances should come in steady waves. As our second pick for this matchup, over the projected total is our full game total pick. That's all for now, so if you have any other games you would like reviewed, then leave a comment down below with the game you would like analyzed, subscribe to our channel, leave a like on this video, and we'll get to it as soon as we possibly can. We would also love to hear your opinion on the picks presented to you in this video, whether you agree or disagree with them, so leave a comment down below and do let us know.